The Dyre Avenue Line is one of my favorite lines in the New York City subway system. To me, it's similar to the Brighton line in Brooklyn. It's calming, there's great views, and the trains actually move on it. This line has a great history, but it seems like majority don't know about it. In this video, I take you through the history of the Dyre Avenue Line. Our journey starts in 1912, when the New York, Westchester, and Boston Railway opened its line connecting White Plains to New York City. The line entered the city in the Eastchester neighborhood of the Bronx and had stations at Dyre Avenue, Baychester Avenue, Gun Hill Road, Pelham Parkway, Morris Park, 180th Street, Westchester Avenue, Hunts Point, Casanova, Port Morris, and the Harlem River Terminal. The railroad had two service patterns, express and local. Local trains, of course, made all stops, while express trains only made stops at select stations, like Pelham Parkway and 180th Street. Now, you may be wondering, why is this relevant to the history of the Dyre Avenue Line? Well, a few years after the railroad opened in the 1920s, a huge issue arose: the Great Depression. Money was hard to come by, and as a result, the New York, Westchester, and Boston Railroad went bankrupt, and the line it served was abandoned. Around the same time, the city was looking for ways to serve the northeast parts of the Bronx, and with this railroad being unused, the city saw a huge opportunity to take it over and run subway service along it. The city created many plans to serve the abandoned line, first proposing for the IRT Pelham line to branch off near Hunts Point. Eventually, the city landed on a plan to only service the line north of the 180th Street station, so the Pelham line connection was off the table. Instead, the White Plains Road line was chosen to branch at East 180th Street and run north to Dyre Avenue. In 1940, the city bought the railroad north of 180th Street and converted it to IRT standards. 600-volt third rail and a new signaling system was installed on the line. 20 gate cars were modified to use on the line, and they first ran in revenue service in May 1941. At the time, the line was only served by a shuttle, running between East 180th Street and Dyre Avenue, similar to the late night 5 train. At the time, the line wasn't connected to the IRT main line and instead used a separate platform at East 180th Street. Passengers used paper tickets to transfer between the IRT service and the shuttle service. Even with the subway running north to Dyre Avenue, the city still wanted to restore the line further north into Westchester County, using the inner 2 tracks on the line. Unfortunately, plans failed, and in the mid-1940s, most of the inner tracks and overhead catenary was removed and used for scrap metal for World War II. In the 1950s, construction started on the connection between the White Plains line and the Dyre Avenue line, and in 1957, through service started, with trains from 7th Avenue serving Dyre Avenue. In 1965, service to the Dyre line was altered, with 7th Avenue trains running to Wakefield and Lexington Avenue trains running to Dyre Avenue, the current service pattern we know of today. Since then, the line and the services running along it hadn't changed much. During the 1990s and 2000s, parts of the line were modified, allowing for inner tracks to be used as a test track for trains to do emergency brake and speed tests. Most of the Dyre line is straight, minus a few small curves near the start and end of the line, along with the line near Pelham Parkway. The line also mostly stays at the same grade, but something you might have noticed is that part of the line is underground, elevated, in an embankment, and at grade. This is something that's confused me for a very long time, and a few years back, it finally clicked as to why the line is like that. The geography of the Bronx is stupid. No, seriously, there's random hills everywhere. Just take a look here at Gun Hill Road. Towards the southern end, you're at about the same elevation as the houses around you, but at the northern end, they're above you. It's all over the place. Despite that, this line is one of my favorites, not only because the 5 runs on it, but also because of how calm it is and the great clips you can get on it. The same goes for the Brighton line. I've heard some people call it their comfort lines, and I can understand why. Anyway, how do you feel about the Dyre Avenue line? If you enjoyed this video and you would like to get more from Mystic Transit, like, subscribe, and consider supporting me via channel memberships or super thanks. Special thanks to RC from the NYC for supporting me at the train operator tier.